We go. I do believe that we are alive. So I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you for joining me again, for finding yourself on another conscious evolution. Today's stream topic is about ego death, interestingly enough. It was going to be about fascination, about how I believe we should give ourselves the freedom to be fascinated by things. But then I practiced some yoga and I was allowing myself to be fascinated. And in this rabbit hole, I come to this remembrance, this experience that I've been through, thinking about this concept of ego death, what that even means. You might have heard the term before, but I believe a few things about it now. It's not something I've experienced recently, but it is something I think I've experienced at least once. Maybe more than once. Maybe you've experienced it. Share today is the losing of separation, right? Ultimately, when you lose your ego, you don't die per se as a form, but this concept, this belief, this narrative, this understanding you have forced upon yourself comes to an end. And that understanding is that you are separate, that there is you, and then there is the rest of the world, right? And we can use, instead of the word the rest of the world, we can use the word God, right? As it is in the title or in the thumbnail. Because that technically is what it is, right? There is the everything. There is the infinity, which we liken to God or God's creation or, you know, a part of God's larger body. Please, Mr. Fly, go and be God somewhere else. And that is something that I feel I almost had like a moment of realization with today. Because this experience came almost now, feels like 2 years ago. I ate 7.77 grams of edible mushrooms. You can eat them, I promise. You can eat them. And then upon experiencing, this experience for myself, there was a moment where I got stuck. This fly, bro, you need to not, please, please. I got stuck. I got stuck in this understanding, right? It was almost like I came to this conclusion, if you will. And the conclusion was that I'm not separate. And it was so stark, it was so clear, it was so obvious that it stopped me. It was like it made me stand still to fathom and contemplate what it is I'm actually. And then as I was coming to terms with it, there was this deep sense of pain, a mourning arising in my spirit, feeling like something has died, like this fly is going to. Right? And yet he's not technically gone. His corpse is now on the floor, where a lizard or something might eat him and become a part of his larger energy system. So yeah, what remains when ego dies? A God. God remains. The everything remains. That's all that remains, right? And it is this weird thing where in that realization, in the coming to the conclusion of, you might be forced to rebuild, recast from your molten ego something new again. And with this newfound information, with this losing of your old self, dying of your old self, if you will, you are reborn into something else, right? And that something else still is the same thing it always was. And then we form ego again. Ego's purpose is to convince you of your separateness, right? That's its whole thing. It wants to convince you that you are in fact separate, that you are in fact you, and I am in fact me. And then I have this sound associated with my ego, melt more, and you can project that out into the world, and this ego can respond to that, and we can feel a sense of communication because of that. But for me, at least, the challenge has been in realizing that ego is something we are actively shaping, right? And every single time you take ego away, when an ego becomes null and void, to say it in so many words, there is this purity that remains at the end of it, right? Ultimately, at the base of it. And for me, the thing that I'm trying to really understand in my own experience, the thing I'm fascinated by, is how I want to use the word resilient or resistant my ego is, right? Like it took way more than it was supposed to for me to get to that point. And maybe I'm speculating, maybe I'm naive as to how much it's supposed to take as well. But it does seem to be one of those things that I forget really quickly, despite having learned the lessons that I've learned. Maybe I'm not forgetting as much as I am not letting myself exist in that way, right? That if ego is something that doesn't exist in the first place, then there are certain types of egos that shouldn't. If that makes sense. I don't know if it does. Basically, what I'm saying is, how can I be the best ego? How can I be the best Melt? Despite him going to die multiple times throughout his life as well, right? Who Meltmore is, this ego that you can address, is going to change. I'm gonna quickly do a restart here. I don't know if it's gonna make it better. I don't think it did, but at least now I know. It's nice having you friends here. I see Jovan and Joyviv and Sam and Maula and Lozana too. Love you friends. Sam says, what remains when ego is gone? That really depends on whether or not the subject is a narcissist. Yeah, you see, but that's the thing. Maybe that is what I've been prancing around and not actually just stepping into, Sam. Because in this death of ego, right, your ego can die. And then if you are an absolutely raging narcissist, that might be not necessarily a character trait as much as it might be an actual neurological makeup, right? The way your brain is wired, the way you as a person have been wired your entire life might be towards that narcissism. And then as you reestablish your ego, bringing it back from this death of your previous ego, you might become even more of a rampant narcissist, right? And I don't, and we've had this conversation before, Sam, right? Like the willingness to ask yourself whether or not you are a narcissist is a good place to start. And it's interesting because I remember us talking about narcissism a few times in this stream, and every single time we have talked about it, there was more questioning in me whether or not I have a problem with narcissism. And the fact that I don't feel I have a problem with narcissism, I don't know if that bodes well or bodes bad. You get what I'm saying? Is it a good thing that I don't feel like I'm a narcissist? Was it a bad thing that I felt like I might have been one before? Are you more of a narcissist the less you think you are one? Who knows? Who knows? All I know is that I've been showing up for the right reasons. Right? I've been showing up for love. I've not just been showing up for myself, and that's all I can really manage right now. Right, this ego. Your ego can die in the eyes of others as well. Right, who you think you are to people can go away, and then again, what remains? Asking that question of ourselves. It is a hard one. All of us are kind of forced in some way, to see it at least, to associate with an identity from a very young age. Maybe that's a good thing. Is it a good thing? To give some context, when I was a child, like a little kid, I used to think I'm a creature. I'm like some sort of, I don't want to say the word monster because that doesn't bode well. But I was some sort of organism. I was definitely not human, according to myself. This is me at age 4, 5, 6, right? So I'm just aware enough to be aware. I'm just verbal enough to be able to talk to my peers if I wanted to, and old enough to actually have memories as well. And I remember there being this real sense of me and these other ones are different somehow. Something's amiss. Then there's the fact that me and my dad look so similar. That definitely did add to the ego fractal as well. They gave me the same name as him. That was a deliberate choice. And then they deliberately chose to not name me the name they gave me and name me something else instead as my Noomnom. We have these things called Noomname in Afrikaans, which means your naming name. If you want to name me, use my name, not my actual, not my name, my name. Yeah, makes perfect sense, I know. And I don't know, like that name was never one that I liked. Right? I never liked my name. Never felt like me, to say it in so many words. And the person I was as that name, right? The person I was, and again, it's my teenage years, it's me grappling with mortality, me going through depression, me being a mean person, being disliked by my family. All of those things are associated with this previous name that I used to carry. And then picking a name for myself came with a new ego. Maybe the life I chose to live from the moment of picking a name for myself is what shaped me into who I am right now. But it is curious to me how I do seem to be more and more apprehensive to the idea, to the willingness, to the surrendering of ego dissolution, my ego melting. Because this ego likes who he thinks he is right now, right? So the 20-year-old version of myself was very, let's say it in this way. The first year of being Meltmore was very melty, to say it in so many words. The amount of melting that occurred was quite abundant. And then year after year, moving to China definitely did help. But the year after becoming Meltmore, I moved to China. Not even the year, like few months after. And I spent a year in China with this persona and thinking about it a lot, thinking about this, thinking about, I haven't been doing this, of course, at that time, but I was already thinking about it. Something in me, something higher than my ego alone, knew that there was something awaiting me and I had to grow to kind of meet that workload. I created my channel officially in China, uploaded my first videos technically in China, and then moved back. And since moving back, I have had a few melting experiences, to say it in so many words, but not as many. And there definitely is a reason for it, right? There is a part of me that is definitely apprehensive to this experience of ego death. And it is because it confronts me with a truth that it is not always convenient to accept, right? Some of us might find comfort in the victim mentality. I know I do sometimes, right? Being a victim kind of takes some of the responsibility off of your hands, right? And it can be mostly psychological. It can be just a redirection of inquisitive energy, right? There are many reasons we do things. That's the thing that's coming up in my mind right now. There's not just one reason for us to do things. Oh, what if that fly was God and you denied him and shoot him away? That fly was God, Joy Vive, but so am I. And again, there is no separation, right? And if you want to get real technical about it, maybe I will, right? Because this is how my mind works. And this is going to be, I think, strange as a consideration. So do bear with me. Don't take me too seriously as well. All right. And do not try and read into this information excessively. All right. These are my conditions in sharing this information. But let's say, and I do say, all of us are one, right? And the thing experiencing this experience is that thing that unifies. As in, there is an observer, this version of you that watches this experience, that wakes up every day as the same self. And then there are the things that you observe: your life, this body, your family, your work, this world, and the changes therein, right? And in that way, there's a polarity going on here. There's the one version of us that watches, and there's the one version of us that is the watched. So in the case of said fly that decided to violate over and over again my personal space, I did warn verbally. I was like, go and be God somewhere else. I did say that to the fly, you know? And then the fly proceeded to invade my personal space. And if, in this case, all is one, and that observer is within that fly as well, there is a bias in me that believes it isn't the best possible experience to have, being a fly. It's a worthy experience, of course, because God was that fly just now. But now, God isn't that fly anymore, that specific one, as that fly anymore. And that could be a good thing, right? So, in my mind, nothing wrong, nothing bad thing can happen. There's no loss. We are literally infinite. We are the everything. Everything's God. There is no separation from it. Insects. How many insects have we killed just by walking around? God isn't that fly. I like that you like that, Joe. Okay, good. I felt like I was getting down a rabbit hole that was too much there for a second, and the fact that Pojo quotes me on that quote makes me feel perfect. Nice. Perfect. Yeah. Great. Oh, goodness. What happens to a narcissist? When their ego dies, they usually have some sort of panic attack, at least from what I've seen. That, or they become very loud. Like the craziest instance that I've seen of someone coming to the realization that they're God after their ego death is they proceed to start screaming it at people and running around. Like worst case I've seen is a guy that like took too much and then started screaming, "I'm God, I'm God," and he was like jumping on people's tents like they were trampolines. And then people would come out their tents and be like, "What the fuck, bro?" And he would like assure them. He would like basically set them at ease. Just like, "Don't worry, I'm God." And that's what I was trying to like get at today with the whole stream topic of how do we make sure we have balance in that ego death as well, because when ego dies the only thing that remains is God. Look at this weather we're having. Washeth me, washeth me weird, wash me clean. Oh, oh, that's nice. I don't know if it's clear how much this wind is. Is it? Can you infer? There's a lot of wind. Look at that tree. Woo! Good thing we have microphones. Thank you, Jovan. This clear audio is sponsored by Jovan, a literary proud sponsor. Okay. Yeah. You can still see them trees. Man, those sounds are so trippy to me. Yesterday we talked about what the universe wants. The universe wants this. Right now, this is exactly what the universe wants. And wind is very much like water. Alright. These are like waves. There's a river rushing past me right now. What would our senses be like if we could see wind? You know, I think it would be pretty psychedelic. It would be like little fish in the water. I think at least. They begin to lash out at the structures that reinforce their life as they fall away. It's a scary time for them. Their ego is everything. And when it gets stripped away, they feel vulnerable. True. Melt killed God. God is dead. Nietzsche killed God a long time ago, bro. Like, Nietzsche beat me to it. He didn't actually. Nietzsche wasn't the one who killed God. Society was. We killed God. We killed God a long time ago. In favor of science. Oh, Jovan with the microphone. Yeah, it's true. Look at that. Like literally the only reason you friends can hear me clearly right now is because I have microphones on me. You probably can hear the fact that there are trees being rustled and stuff, but you should be able to hear my voice clearly. But with N-type folks, the vulnerability manifests in rage in all directions except the selves. Yeah, the jumping on people's tents. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because even then they cannot and will not accept responsibility. Yeah, what a trip. The fact that I had the experience of the whole tent thing and you said it like that, bro is fighting himself, aren't we all? Sounds like the good old classic cognitive bias, the backfire effect. It's worth a Google. Meow Lao and Ozana. Howdy Meow Lao. Bless you, bro. It's nice having you. Stream looks good. Nothing to make better. Perfect. Melt. It sounds like ASMR. Good. Do appreciate all of these wonderful nature sounds. Absorb them with your beings and make them a part of yourself now. Feel a sense of comfort in knowing you are inside and the rain and wind will not affect your calm right now. I have some Darling's Web in this Dynavep right now. Darling's Web is a strain grown by Annika. You friends have met Annika. Annika is Tines's beloved. Melty, the audio is excellent. Thank you, bro. Thank you, Joe. Melt, I hear you. Best is not important. I'm happy to get to see you. You're obviously not okay with all the colonial mindsets. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not exactly. But it is. Tis be. I never liked my name. I've also never liked my name, but I haven't settled on one I prefer, aside from my pen name. I don't think you've told me your pen name. Choose yourself a new name, Sam. If not, why not? It will change you. It will change you if you do that, I promise. Could be worth a try. This strain, I don't know how to explain it other than milky gas. If you could condense a milk truck into a vapor, that's what that tastes like. And I know that doesn't sound good, but it is. I do like that. Thank you, Annika. I got to see these bushes as well. Actually, even remember when I went to Tines's house and I was in his grow room, and me and John were sitting in front of these weed bushes. They were these round, beautiful weed-looking bushes. Those were the Darling's Webs, and that's the strain I'm vaping right now. No one had some volume in it. Joy Vive says she likes Sam's government name, Samantha. Samantha, I like more than just Sam. But Sam is like endearing in a short, in a melt kind of way, right? So I do get that as well. I'm thinking about the Samantha thing. It also does sound very formal. I mean, Samantha. I think I made dough so cozy on the couch. Lurky, love you, beautiful human critters. We love you, ja. Sleep well. I was off making breakfast. Did anyone make a fly like an ego joke yet? Steve Miller Band. I don't think we have, but now you have. Thank you, LA, for adding that. Nope, Lewis. Still all yours. Go for it, lady. Joy Vive. My government name is a pun on one my mother still takes delight in. You want to tell us more about that, Sam? Moms be having jokes. It's true. Melt, hugs. I have conditions, conditions to show I share. Conditions to show I share. It's called boundaries. You got this, bro. God best good. God isn't that fly anymore. Oh, that cracks me up again. Yeah, boundaries. Boundaries. I'm happy that you're saying that. You know, I got invited to a party yesterday, and I was just too tired. I was just too tired to go and do that. And that for me is a kind of boundary that I've set. It kind of sucks because I don't like disappointing people when they invite me to things. But it is a kind of boundary, right? Like I'm tired. I'm not gonna do this thing just for the sake of doing it. Then I'm gonna have to try and do something to not feel tired. And the only thing that there is to do is to sleep, which I can only do by not doing this other thing, right? And then the ego gets involved, and we feel a sense of shame, we feel a sense of worry that the person will be disappointed, we feel a sense of tension and seeing them again and worrying that they're going to be, angry or whatever. Hey, Cable, I've been watching your Instagram posts, bro. Day 666 of sharing your art every day until you make a living of it, bro. Uh, yeah, what I can tell you is that it's gonna take at least 666 more days, at least minimum, and then apparently more, from what the universe has told me. I see Duck Dad here. Bless you, bro. It's nice seeing you, name man. Sending you love. Again, Cable. It's nice having you, bro. We have missed you. Joe's coming in hot. The only thing that remains after ego death is God. Where am I in this scenario? You are God in this scenario. I think that is kind of the point of today's stream topic. That's what we're getting at, if you will. Hey, how long have we been doing this? Today is day for me at least 1417. But if we're gonna be realistic, Cable, we've been doing this forever. Forever. Whatever forever means is how long we've been doing this. Right. And at this point in our journey, we're just kind of committing to the forever now. We're like, oh yeah, well, if we're gonna be forevering, we might as forever. We might as well create things to make a part of the forever. Forever, exactly. So we're way more than 666, yeah. Way more. At least double 666 at this point, right? Literally. We're going on our third round of 666 again. Mount audio is great, good. I think I made those. Bless you again. I don't use my full first name because in my childhood it was accompanied by accusations about shit I didn't do. Samantha? I can hear it. I can still hear those fractals. They're not even in my mind, but I can still hear that. It makes me feel bad just hearing it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sam. That's why I chose a new name for myself as well. That's why I don't like the name Estion. I don't like that name. It makes me cringe for the same reason. So I get it, Sam. We should pick you a new name the way I picked mine. But it might be easier if you come through for a yoga retreat. We'll do yoga retreat. We'll do some soul searching. We'll stack crystal grids. We'll pick you a new name. It'll be good. Sam, my butt still puckers when I hear a woman voice yell, Michael! Michael! I should never do that ever again. I sound like fucking Mickey Mouse. Not Samantha. Sam has another name. It's so beautiful, but I won't tell. You want to tell us more about your pod name, Sam? My initials on my birth certificate were SNO, and my mother takes pleasure in it because I was born in January in the middle of a blizzard. So your name is Snow. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. It's a cute pun. At least it's not obnoxious. Right? Maybe it's obnoxious that she keeps making it. Maybe it's like a perspective thing. Mouse Girl Boys is South African Mickey Mouse. Stop, bro. Stop that. You just can't do shit like that. Dr. S there, yeah, watch out. Does it more. Hello everyone. Bless you again. First day back to work since my back injury. Yeah, he's feeling good, but he has heavy lifting day. Winter rising upon. Bless, bro. You got this. Great news though. I have decided to not do Duck Dad Farms next year as I will be apprenticing with an arborist and working tree work next season. Yeah, nice. So Duck Dad, in this journey that we have been sharing with one another, has had this farm that he's been running out of his basement where he propagates a bunch of baby plants and then he sells them to people so they don't have to struggle trying to propagate things themselves. By the time the season is right for them to have things in the ground, Duck Dad made sure they have things to put in the ground. It is a lot of work. Like we saw this man work himself near to death, but it was a passion project, you know. And it's not. I don't think, at least, it's not gone. Duck Dad Farms remains, but now he's going to try something else, and he did talk about that as well. I think even Loazana had a conversation with us too about one of her family members potentially being an arborist as well, where they basically make sure maybe a tree is very big and it's starting to kind of like look at the house, be like, would be a shame if this store of potential energy would come crashing down on the E roof, wouldn't it? And then Duck Dad is like, not on my watch, takes out chainsaw. Right, that's what's gonna happen for him next year. Are you gonna start just doing it? Is that how you learn? Do they just throw you in with the other guys and it's like, oh wait, watch, bro, watch how we do, and then you start doing too. You should take a video. I hope at least you can of your first felling, bro. It would be cool to see. Don't send me videos of you cutting down trees for vanity reasons, though. Right? If I don't see any houses close to the trees you're cutting down, I'm gonna be upset, bro. I'm gonna say something about it. So don't show me that stuff. Don't ponds winterize themselves when they freeze over? I think they're probably talking about maybe like filtration systems or the air system, maybe pumping air into the thing or something, or maybe there is some sort of agitator. I don't know. There's probably something that can break if it doesn't get winterized, taken care of. If not some intention, some care is taken. Mm. Duck Dad Farms will always be a dream, but I need to do it when I can. Give it my everything. Yeah. Robots will make it easier as well, Duck Dad. The robots are not far away, bro. Arborist for like 4 years, and you'll make enough money to buy yourself the robots you need to have all of the labor necessary to make sure you can do what Duck Dad Farms provides their clients, right? Because you are trying to make things more convenient for your customer. And in that way, you are your own customer. Because if your whole shtick is, serving others and making life more convenient for them in this process of growing their own food, and you're not allowing yourself to have things made more convenient for you, then we're pulling the wagon the wrong way. We're pushing the wagon instead of pulling it. Maybe it's the right saying. I'm looking forward to the future. It's gonna be pretty novel. Nobody has had our future, not like this. Nobody got to look forward to a future the way we can. And yes, there are some things to be concerned with, scared of, but that has been the case for literally every single generation. The previous generations had to be scared of plagues and famine, right? We get to be scared of super weapons and intelligent machines. It's pretty hardcore, and maybe aliens as well, right? That's pretty cool. It's cool things to be scared about. It's cooler than dying of some, invisible thing in your world. You're like, oh, someone coughs in your general direction, and you're like, oh, I got the plague now. I should not be joking about stuff like this, but you get what I'm saying, right? Right? Our fears are a little bit more tangible, larger than thou, sometimes as well, of course. But we have solved many of our problems. We won against polio. All right, we fucking did that shit. We're gonna win against many things with our machine learning and especially with our CRISPR gene editing over the next 20 years as well. Many a victory will be had by our species. And there will be a certain ego death that comes along with that, right? Some of the things we believe about ourselves will have to change. At least I hope. I trust. Yeah, I must. Surely it wouldn't be able to not. 2044 is our year. I'm looking forward to it. God does his own live streams about Melt's yoga practice. That sounds novel. My like, what does that look like? Who does God stream to? Do the angels watch? Do all of them watch? Are some of them watching other angels? Are some of them doing reaction content to God's one? No, please, I cannot think about that stuff right now. That is tripping me out a little bit though. And it makes me think about a show called Nimona. I don't know why, but it's making me think about that show. If you haven't seen Nimona, I think that's how you say it. Nimona. It's a Netflix show. It's very good. It's about it's about ego in some ways. It's about identity in many ways as well. Ego and identity do go hand in hand, I think. Mm, could be worse. My ex besties was named after a cat. That is a bit of a yikes. His name is Garfield? Maybe. That feels like the only one it could be. It has to be a Garfield. Well, good news is the way I learn is the two very dangerous dead trees threatening to crush my house in a greenhouse at the moment. Arborist is going to do it for free while teaching me the literal ropes. Nice. Nice. That is pretty cool. I have a lot of skill for ground tree guy. A lot of I have a lot of the skills for ground tree guy, but he's going to help teach me how to run the lines and do the rigging so that I could eventually climb as well. Don't forget scrubbing all of the season's goo off the pumps. Very glamorous job. Do you scrub? You don't use a pressure washer? Are the parts too sensitive for that? So we'll keep doing this forever. Yeah, that's kind of the gig, Kevo. That's kind of the gig we signed up for, right? Because the alternative is not doing it. The alternative is not doing it, and we keep trying the alternative, and then we're like, yeah, this sucks. This kind of sucks. Let's go back to doing it again, and then we find ourselves back here once more. All right. Like we've even forever done this. I've even been myself forever. I've been you forever. I've been Joy V forever. Right. Like you can think of it like an iterative thing. Right. The fact that we exist here as we are collectively right now is something to be stoked about. Like there is a lot of opportunity for us here to do something new just by the fact that we got to meet one another. We got to influence each other in this forever. Our forevers, in the way that we'll forever forward, has been changed forever because of our forevers intertwining. So that's pretty cool. That's more coolness, dude. More things to be excited about, more novelty. Bro, do you have enough flannel and measuring tape suspenders for this job? Maula, DMT heading me. Sam, I'm feeling cold out, wearing flannel and suspenders at this moment. Flannel suspenders are so hot right now. Joy Vive has the thirst trap emoji. That's satisfying, Doug. Yeah, well done, Sam. Literally pinpointing it. Mm, would you look at this? That's hilarious. You're already seeing it now, Malone? Good. Yeah, it is pretty funny. I'll admit. That was made by Samantha. No, no, not Samantha. Zano. Susanna. There we go. My mind was like, that feels like it could be right, but it's not. Yeah, Susanna. Zana. She made that. Made me a DMT head. Like, I mean, I should say Godhead, but the fact that you're using that on today's stream specifically. Flannel suspenders, joy, Googles. Jesus was a terrible day to have eyes. No. Sam, for the record, the measuring tape suspenders are for carpenters. Us free fellas are now called the groundy, prefer solid color. Okay, good. And also, don't suspenders stretch? I guess you could get a stretch material that does return to its original shape, but slowly but surely your measuring tape will probably become worse and worse. And if you're doing carpentry work, you're supposed to be able to, keep your lines where they're supposed to be. Low key, I would love a pair. Low key, I would love a pair of suspenders that were made of flannel that match one of my flannels perfectly, so I could have camouflage suspenders. You just see this like continuation, all right? Almost like he got like layered. He got like cut out layered, cut out the hole, and then slide a little flannel in the background. So we'll keep doing this. Yeah, again, camouflage suspenders. For the record, I think it would be sick to be named Garfield. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad name either. Is it? I don't know if it is his actual name, but Garfield makes me think about Garfunkel. That's also a trippy one. Also, not a bad name. Garfunkel. Maybe it's. Do I want to be called Garfunkel? Hey, Garfunkel. Hey, Gar. I probably would shorten it. Probably for Garfield as well. Did I call someone Garfield? I had a friend that was called Heinrich, and I would call him Heine. Never call him Hein, technically. I met a Heineken on Friday night. When he told me his name, I could almost feel him bracing for me saying, like the beer. And I didn't. I didn't say like the beer. Egos, right? His ego probably has experienced that fractal so many times. If I were to get those trees professionally taken down, they are at high risk over power lines and structures. It's like 12,000 US dollars. Duck Dad don't have that. And it probably would be like 12,000 US dollars to properly get trained, if you were like some young strapping lad wanting to get into the industry. Maybe I'm overestimating, but thinking about your housing costs and fuel costs and food costs in the preparation to become an arborist, you can spend $12,000, right? So technically you're making $24,000 right now just by cutting your own trees. Doc, that you should send me 10%, bro. Because you're so banked right now, dude. So $2,400 buys me an EUC. Oh, Doc Dad would do a triple backflip if he sends me $2.5 grand, and the first thing I do is buy an EUC. He would do a triple backflip off of the tree stump that he just cut, up there. Garf is a strong nickname, right? Gar is cooler to me than Garf. Garf is too close to Barf in my mind. Well, you are also a friend named Tinas. His name is Tinas. It runs a weed stop. Weed shop. You think that now, but one, listen here, you lazy lasagna eating motherfucker later, and you be questioning that life choice. You would probably learn to hate lasagna in that case, right? Like you would have to not eat a single slice of lasagna in your life to be able to go, I don't actually eat lasagna, asshole, so your insults don't land. Melt, you hit the nail on the head. Sure, I will be going in at an apprentice pay at 39 years old, but it's over $10,000 to go to an arborist school, and I'm not making any money while I'm doing it. I'm grateful. Yeah, bless you, bro. These things scale up, right? I feel like the fact that you do at least have your wife's support as well, and you already have your family, and you're in your home, and you had your own business before, right? Which does come with a certain room of risk. The fact that you can expect something stable as an apprentice pay, right, doesn't really make you any less. I feel like that's also something that I've seen here in South Africa, especially, is that any capital is appreciated, right? I was having a few conversations with a few DJs, and he was mentioning that some of the gigs they don't get paid at all, and how one of the gigs that he's playing now soon coming up, he's getting paid 200 rand, and he said the words 4 bottles. And I don't know what that means. I'm guessing they're gonna give him 4 bottles of liquor at the place he's playing at. All right, I'm guessing that's what it means. But my mind was going down the rabbit hole of like, what is it we value, right? Is it, does he drink a lot? So he was gonna buy the 4 bottles for himself, and that's why he wants them? Or is it cheaper for the venue to give you 4 bottles than it would be for you to buy them? So the money difference makes sense for them. And then 200 rand is $10. All right. And they're willing to show up for that. But my mind is like almost having a hard time fathoming it for a little bit, like a little bit. Maybe it's again because of where I'm staying right now, but traveling to Johannesburg and back is about 200 rand, right? So if I had to go and DJ for that kind of money or for nothing, you don't walk away making anything. And yet still, people are okay with that because it's still something, right? It's not nothing. I think there is definitely a part of me that has been influenced by the way I think things are supposed to be. And I realized that there's definitely like a step change difference with how things are for most people here in South Africa. I just snorted at the EUC line. I got jokes. I got some funnies. Mel brought up the EUC throwing down that gauntlet. Let's face it, if I sent you $2,400, I expected you to buy anything other than an EUC, I would be dumb down. I would be the dumb down. It would be funny. You know what the best part is, Doug? That I probably wouldn't buy myself an EUC. Uh, because again, EUC is like something that I want to buy myself if I can justify it for like one of two reasons. Reason one is that I have the expendable income, right? I have justified it hard enough in my mind to look at the amount of money I can expect to make. Because right now, buying an EUC is like literally a year worth of saving, right? So like putting a year of my life, and then I can have a circle that moves me around. And that still sounds like a compelling offer. I'm like, but second reason would be to make content with it, right? And then that way, I'm closer to making it make sense. Because then it goes from, oh, I'm spending a year of my life acquiring this object, but now this object can allow me to potentially spend 6 months of my life acquiring the same amount of value that this object allowed me, or that I had to acquire in order to afford that object in the first place. But that again, is assuming a bunch of things. Your friends might not even like, EUC content. Me moving through space and time, going different places and showing you. I mean, feels hard to believe that you wouldn't like that. All right. Right. Wouldn't you like that? Starts justifying harder. Stop! I don't have 2.5 grand right now to spend on a wheel. And I probably should buy myself a car before I get myself an EUC. I am really struggling with that as well, on a personal soul level, where I'm like, bro, bruh. Buying an electric car is very out of reach for me right now, like very out of reach. But buying an EUC is more in reach, right? Because an electric car in South Africa is going to be $30,000 minimum. Minimum $30,000, right? So suddenly now $2,500 sounds like nothing. And actually, there's three, in fact. There's three that are available here in South Africa that are only $2,000. Only $2,000. $400 discount. Look at that. We're already saving money. And again, the reason that I haven't, almost like tried to start even saving for it is because I want the tech to mature a little bit more as well. I want the bodies to become even more refined and rigid, and I want the batteries to become cheaper, and ideally higher energy density as well, because that way I'll benefit both from having a lighter wheel, which makes it more comfortable to ride, more maneuverable and more manageable when I'm not on it, i.e. putting it in the car or next to myself or whatever. And it might end up being cheaper as well. So I'm gonna chill and wait. I'm gonna chillax. I want to do a bunch of different types of content. EUC content is just gonna be one of them, bro. Oh god, EUC content. I don't know what's worse, people who watch it or people that make it. JK, I've never seen it. It's basically just people going places, right? It's like you get to see a certain way of moving through space and time, to say it in so many words. And to be honest, Duck Dad, I don't spend a lot of time watching it. When I just got into the fascination, and you probably have noticed that I don't talk about the EUC much. I haven't been thinking about an EUC much this year. I have some time have been spent, true, but I definitely spent more time thinking about it last year, because again, there was this fascination at first with seeing the way that the world can be experienced in that way. Because I used to appreciate and enjoy the experience of being on a scrambler, we call them, a dirt bike, right? Riding a dirt bike through, the forest is an experience. It's a nice one. I enjoy it. I feel very primal, but it makes a lot of noise. It's very heavy. It outputs fumes. It needs fuel, right? So there's a bunch of things not to like. It gets extremely hot, so if you fall over, and that has happened to me, you can scorch your skin off with this thing leaning up against you as you fall over. So there's a bunch of things that's like, "Ugh." So my mind is like, oh, I like this thing. I remember this joy I get from traversing space-time, like going from one place to another, experiencing what this tree, oh, look at this in this riverside, and oh, look at these interesting rocks, and oh, I'm gonna go up this now, and oh, look at this view, right? But with that thing, I get to not I get to have my hands free because I'm literally standing on the device. One, it doesn't make any sound because it's electric. It's literally 400 pounds lighter than a motorcycle. It's only one wheel to worry about. So my mind is like, yes, it makes sense. It says to me. So we're back at. I've now almost like given myself all of the infrastructure to make it make sense to me, and now it's just about like not suffering in one thing. One, just be like, no, it's chill. I'm not missing anything. I say to myself. No, 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 no. Wrote down. DJs getting a certain quantity of free drinks is standard here. So you're getting bottles isn't that surprising. It's still an exchange of value. True. It is true. I don't drink alcohol though. So you're giving me 4 bottles, you might as well give me like 4 bottles filled with sand. Like literally. It would be of equivalent value to me. I'd be like, bottles of sand, nice, thank you. I love sand. If someone tried to pay me with 4 bottles of liquor in a club, I would walk that shit right over to a table, offer it to him for a 25% discount over what they were about to pay at the bar. Yeah, you probably like just imagine you like standing there at the bar, serving people drinks for a 25% discount. I paid for a Red Bull, right? At the venue I was at a Friday night. I paid for a Red Bull and it was like $2.50. It doesn't sound that much. Is it $2.50? No, no. Yeah. No. Was it? Jeez. Dollars instantly skew your value adjustment of how much things are supposed to cost. Yeah, 50 Rand. I was like, what the hell, bro? 50 Rand is like enough money for a burger here in South Africa. It's like, okay, this like 250 ml can of Red Bull is more valuable in here than it is in my mind anywhere else. So there definitely is like a value skewing. Maybe you'd make money that way, bro. Start selling liquor as one of the DJs. I don't think they'll smile upon you for doing that though. If I send you $2,400, you better reserve some of that for a bed for me to sleep on because my wife will surely divorce me. That was a sick line. That's perfect. uh, you know, fine. For a bed, fine. You didn't specify what bed, and I think one of those blow up mattresses are like $10. So I think I can spare. I can spare. I'll help you pump up your mattress every morning. Um, oh God, EUC content. Love you again, bro. All that phone here. You told me the EUC was a car replacement. No backtracking. Now you ride that little unicycle, rain or shine, bro. You can decide not to drive. All right, as well. Fortunately, since I work online, I work on the internet. I just need to have an internet connection. So the rain doesn't really decide whether or not, for me at least. Like, I'm trying to say that it doesn't affect me that much, right? I haven't driven my car, for example, not my car, a car in the rain that much, relatively speaking. It doesn't rain that much here in South Africa, which is definitely something that skews my personal bias. I'll definitely admit that. You also look forward to riding on your shoulders on the EUC since it doesn't have a back seat. Again, the last 20 times I went to the joint, it was just me. No Max, no John, just me going by my ace to the joint. Right? And that would be the kind of use case that I use an EUC for. Oh, I'm going to go to the joint. I have my backpack with my tripod and my microphones and my yoga mat. And then I point my general beingness in that direction and then I get there and then I plug it in. I don't have to necessarily if it has a big enough battery. Some of them has like 100 miles of range on a single charge. Right, they can go far, like very far. And then if it's not charged enough, I can plug it in again. You cannot just refuel your motorcycle or car wherever you get, all right? But you can plug something into a wall, and it won't use that much energy, relatively speaking. It will, like a big one has like 2, 3 at most kilowatts of energy. So depending on what you pay, I think you friends in America pay like cents for a kilowatt hour sometimes. So it costs less than $1. Costs less than $1 to refill, to put fuel in this vehicle that can take you 100 miles. Right? Less than $1. All right, and if you don't like paying $1 to put fuel in it, you can slap a bunch of solar panels on your roof and have like a little mini energy generation unit, right? The one in there. You can buy an energy generation unit for $100, $120, and you can technically charge an EUC off of that thing with a solar panel. It will take a lot longer to get full. That's true, like a lot longer. Maybe for a very big one, it might take 2 days to get completely charged. But you can do it. You can do it. Yeah. We need to start a GoFundMe for EUC. You know, the whole EUC world. I'll rep them too. I'll be like, I'll shout at the top of the rooftops. Everybody's gonna buy EUC now. Oh man, you're going to give your boy Duck Dad an inflatable mattress for his fucked back. I have now figured out our level of friendship, lol. Oh, dude, don't be like that, bro. Don't be like that, dude. I have beds. You know, there are beds. We gonna have to buy you one. Maybe that's why my mind was like, it's fine, dude. There's an abundance of beds here in South Africa, I'm sure. They probably are. There's probably so many beds in storage right now, just like waiting for their chance, just biding their time to serve someone's achy breaky back again. I also look forward to riding on your shoulders next year again, dude. Oh shit, you give Mel $2,400 for an EUC. He gives you a $10 blow up. It's not like that. It's not like that. I didn't believe Duck Dad in him saying that he's going to need a place to sleep, right? I was just gonna buy it as like, I totally have a place for you to sleep kind of gesture. And for what it's worth, I've slept well on $10 blow up mattresses. I'm totally not lying. I'm being serious. I think I'm also gonna be serious and do like a little bit of a horizontal stream. I've seen the rooms in the farm that you lace. It's lousy with mattresses. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's a bunch of them there. It's because we have big families. So when they come, and they're gonna come again this Christmas coming up, the whole family's gonna be there. So mattresses are necessary. I thank you, friends, for joining me. I'm gonna see you soon, like for the next one, but I'm gonna say goodbye for this one for now. Love you, friends. Cheers for now. Goodbye.